going on, Green Teamers? Welcome back to the latest episode of the Green Teamers podcast. As always, it's your boy Ernie, my co-host Marvelous Marvin.
We live, we in color. It's another week.
And
I was going to just say it's been a great fucking week. Great weather. Spring is rolling in. You know what that means? Sun's out, buns out. Celtics doing good. Let's keep it good.
Yep.
Shit.
As always, we're going to be talking about the Celtics this past week and the games they had. We're going to take a look at the upcoming week and the games they will be playing. We'll talk a little bit about the Celtics, just some team news, player news, just any other thoughts about the Celtics that we have. And then we open it up into the NBA in general and just some general NBA topics.
You know how it is.
So, let's get started. This week we had 4 games. Normally we would have had 3 games, but we actually are filming on a Saturday again versus a Thursday. But we had the Detroit Pistons, the Dallas Mavericks, the Golden State Warriors, and the Sacramento Kings. As Marvin mentioned not too long ago, great week for us, 3-1.
Yes,
Marvin,
sir.
give me your take. What are we feeling this week?
I'm feeling good this week. It could have been 4-0, that game against the Mavs. Like I told you in the last podcast, Luka be doing Luka things. So at the end of it, I wasn't too shocked. But at the same time, it's nice to see. I'm just speaking because I'm also a Mavericks fan. Y'all didn't know that, but y'all don't need to know that, really. I keep that to myself. Green team are through and through. We bleed green. But I just wanted to make a note that it's nice to see that Luka has help in Spencer Dinwiddie. Like, he's got somebody he can literally rely on to be that second option. And we saw that against the Mavericks. Dinwiddie came in when Luka needed the help. He was there. He was able to help him out. And Dinwiddie hit 2 game winners this week. He hit one against the Brooklyn Nets, too.
He had the one against the Celtics was more of like the go-ahead basket.
Bucket,
Granted,
right.
We had some time, but essentially it was the game winner.
Right.
But that one against the Nets, that was a game winner.
That was cold-blooded.
And it can't feel any better going against your former team. I'm sure you can't beat that.
That must have felt good. And with that game against the Mavericks, Marcus Smart, he had a shot. He had a shot to tie the game close to the end. Jason Tatum, he had his chance. Jason Tatum had a good look. He had a good look at the basket. He just couldn't connect.
And unfortunately, that's just the name of the game, as always.
Shots don't fall.
Yeah, it's how many baskets can you make, and are you making more than your opponent?
Right.
And Mavericks always seem to have our number. It kind of brings me to the other game, the Detroit Pistons. Last week I mentioned that, yes, we're going to beat the Pistons, and it might not be pretty, but that's just because the Pistons always come with...
They come prepared.
They come with their best energy and their best effort.
Right.
So I knew that Detroit game was going to be a tough one, and that's exactly what it was. But we did get the W, so that's all that matters. I will just say, from here on out to with the few games we have left, I'm glad Detroit is not on that schedule anymore, because it's a loss that can happen. We mentioned it last week.
Right.
They're that team that can kind of throw you off on any given night.
And we're sitting there
come out with the W.
We're sitting there. We're fighting for seeding. We're playing well against the good teams. We seem to play up against the good teams. That game against Golden State, I just want to make a quick mention. That game we came in with our A game. Draymond Green came back. Klay Thompson's there. You got Steph there. Marcus Smart did us a solid. He rolled over Curry's ankle. He was like, "Nah, nigga, we can't be doing this." And Steve Kerr was pissed. He was heated. But a couple of years ago, Zaza Pachulia did the same thing, so shut the fuck up. But it was great to see that even before the injury, the Celtics were neck and neck with the Warriors. There was no like, oh shit, Curry's hurt. This is the reason why the Celtics came back. And no, we were holding our own. Mm-hmm. And then Curry got hurt.
Mentioning something else in that game is I sort of saw it as a look at what was and what can be. So the Warriors were like this dynasty, pretty much. I think it's fair to call them dynasty in those years.
Absolutely.
And they're kind of structured the same way the Celtics are, in the sense that they have their A and B guy, and they don't have aside from when they got Kevin Durant, like when they still had Harrison Barnes in that championship run, they had their A and B guy, and then they had their supporting cast.
The others, how Shaq likes to call them. Mm-hmm. The others.
But the others were great players. They had Harrison Barnes, you had Draymond Green. Like, you had players that can do their job and do their job well. And I think that's, like I said, they were what was, and the Celtics have our A and B guy. We have Marcus Smart. We got Robert Williams. We have a good supporting cast.
Yep.
So it was a, like I said, it was a what was and what can be.
Okay.
So I definitely looked at that Warriors matchup kind of like, how do we fare as the new age Warriors?
That used to be the talk. That used to be the scuttlebutt that the Celtics were the new age Warriors. That was the talk going around while IT was here. I remember those days when we used to, because like we said, we always used to play the Warriors well.
Mm-hmm.
Back then, they used to say that same thing all the time. Oh, watch out for the Celtics. The Celtics are up and coming. They look like how we looked like in 2015 when we were just getting things going.
Definitely.
So that idea, that mantra, it's always been there. I think I can accredit that to Brad Stevens' system.
Mm-hmm.
It's just sort of, we got a new coach in this year, but that system still sort of rubs off the coach, and it's still instilled in the players.
Definitely. And I think that's why the transition, granted, as we know, the start of the season was a little bumpy, but I think that now that we're seeing us come into fruition, that transition was very smooth because, like you said, you still see some Brad Stevens instances in the background and through Ime as well.
Right. Brad's still dad.
Mm-hmm.
He's still Dad Stevens on this team.
And I just wanted to continue on with the Warriors game for a second there. And how did you feel about that Marcus Smart play against Steph Curry? Did you think it was dirty? Did you think it was just a hustle play, a hustle NBA play?
I'm not even saying this as a Celtics green teamer, but it wasn't a dirty play. Marcus Smart was just hustling.
No, I completely agree. Once people started getting, like, once you saw Steve Kerr kind of overreact there, I was kind of like, Steve.
Dog, it ain't like that.
Yeah.
It really ain't like that. And like I just mentioned earlier, what happened with Zaza and Kawhi, that was a dirty play. Mm-hmm. You stopped underneath the player while he had no room to land. That's something completely. If Curry was going for a three and Marcus Smart just bowled into him and he rolled his ankle, then yes, that's a dirty play.
Right.
Marcus Smart was hustling for the ball. Instead of Curry hustling for the ball, Curry tried to lean over and grab it.
Mm-hmm. Curry kind of just went through the motion of like, the ball's on the ground. While Marcus Smart is, the ball's on the ground.
Right.
That's mine.
If Curry was diving on the ground too, that wouldn't be your ankle.
Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't be your ankle.
For sure. How did you feel about a couple seconds later on the other end, he kind of stuck his foot out there to Klay Thompson, and on that play is where they awarded him the flagrant one. How did you feel about that one?
That one can go either way. I think that was just more so off the basis of what already happened previously. Mm-hmm. So they're just like they're already on Marcus after that first one. Mm-hmm. I think if that first one with Curry never happened, then that would just been a regular foul. That was just a normal play on. All right, 3 free throws, whatever the case may be. Mm-hmm. But they gave him the flagrant one after what happened with Curry.
Right. No, that's a fair point, and I actually agree with that. I will say I don't believe that Marcus Smart didn't do it intentionally.
With Curry or
with Klay Thompson?
Okay.
I think he went for the up fake. He fell for it, and then he kind of, as a last resort, like, did he want to hurt Klay Thompson? No, but as a last resort,
let me stop the play.
Yeah, exactly. Let me, like you said, I'd rather him get fouled and not put up the shot than get the easy two. So I think he did kick him intentionally, but not to hurt him.
Right, it's just more so stop the play.
Mm-hmm. And then with that being said, like to your point, I think it would have been a normal foul if just a couple minute before that didn't happen with Curry. So
absolutely.
Completely agree with you on that one.
The referees would have swallowed that whistle a lot differently. That's absolutely true.
And lastly, we had the Sacramento Kings last night. That was Friday night.
It was a bombardment. That game was easy.
That was a breeze. I can say right off the bat, I was not worried. Like, I saw the energy we were coming out with, the shots we were making. The Kings did make a run. I think we were up by about 21, and then somewhere in the third quarter, they made a comeback, but they only got it down to 10, and then we kind of stepped on the pedal again, and from there, the rest of the game was sealed. The
decision of that game was never out of question. It was always in play in the Celtics' possession. The Celtics had that game from start to finish. For sure. It was one of those games that you sat there on a Friday night. I sat there last night on a Friday night. I watched a little bit of the game. I started watching, and then I was like, no, I'm trying to get lit. I'm trying to just chill. So I switched the channel over because I'm like, it's not the Celtics, it's the Kings. The Kings aren't doing enough for me to sit here and want to watch this game and enjoy it for what it is. Because I'm sitting there just thinking to myself, Celtics got this game on lock. It's an easy game. let me find something else to spend my Friday night and entertain myself watching.
Mm-hmm.
College basketball was on, wrestling was on, all that kind of stuff. I ended up getting lit and watching something on Netflix. But
Gotcha.
that's pretty much the night. It was a Friday night game that you essentially knew the Celtics had in the bag. So it was either you tune in, watch a little bit, and then you tune out. But I would be shocked if anybody really sat there and watched the entire game from start to finish.
I was gonna say I made the effort to watch the game start to finish, but I actually fell asleep. And maybe that has something to do with the big 3-0 creeping up. We're getting older. Can't stay up for the late night games anymore.
Throw a diaper on my ass soon.
Or it could just be the fact that you're right. It was a just go with the flow, going through the motions type game. Like I said, I was never worried that the Celtics were in trouble of losing this one. I don't know what else I can say about that game because I thought it was a pretty perfect game. What more can you ask for?
No, you couldn't ask for more after that. And like I said, I don't mind those kind of games. I don't mind the kind of games where I can sit there and watch and tune out early, knowing that the Celtics have it in the bag.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mind that. As a Celtics fan, you don't mind that. Especially when those games start at 10 o'clock, 10:30. You don't want to be up till 1 o'clock watching a game against the Kings.
Yeah.
Who the fuck wants to do that?
That's what I did against the Warriors, and man, I honestly paid for it the next day at work.
I bet.
I was tired.
I bet.
But the Warriors are different from the Kings.
Exactly. I tried to watch that game too.
So, how about let's open it up to some Celtics news. Just not news, but just team general ideas, because I did want to bring this point up to you. And it was Marcus Smart for Defensive Player of the Year. What are your thoughts? Is he in the running? Is he the obvious winner, the obvious choice? Is he being kind of pushed up the ratings a little bit too much, like almost overrated in a sense?
I was gonna say I wouldn't put him. I wouldn't list him as Defensive Player of the Year because I can think of players that are better than him defensively, and if they're doing enough to win games for their teams, then they're doing a better job than Marcus defensively, as in that sense, in terms of Defensive Player of the Year. First team, second team, all defense, I can give him that. Marcus, there should be a spot somewhere for Marcus, whether it's first or second team, all defense.
But the sole
winner, Defensive Player of the Year, I would say no.
Okay, at the moment I do agree with you. I'm not saying he's overrated. I do think all the credit he's getting for his defense lately is warranted, and his play is definitely showing that. But I agree, I don't think he's the sole winner of the award just yet. I don't think he's the clear choice just yet. But I will say for me personally, he's at least top 4 choices.
Top 4?
Yeah. Top 4, and again, that's just because look at the East at the moment. It's very close. Each game you win or lose is playing a factor in the standings. So I'm going to give the rest of the season, the rest of the regular season to play out, and that's where I'll
make that decision.
I'll make that decision, yeah. Because like I said, you're right, other players are
affecting their team a lot more.
Mm-hmm. But Marcus Smart is definitely in the running. I'll even argue that Marcus Smart's defense is what's actually getting us going.
Okay.
Marcus Smart on offense and defense
is catapulting.
Yes, is what started that role.
Okay.
And another point I wanted to bring up was is it Sam Hauser?
Yeah.
And Hauser? Yeah.
Hauser. Sam Hauser.
And Sauce Castillo. They're doing their thing. Stauskas?
Okay, yeah, I was like, I know that name sounds familiar. Okay, Nick Stauskas was a low-key good pickup. That was a good pickup. Come playoff time, we mentioned that too. Come playoff time, he will get minutes. Mm-hmm. You will see. You
think so, actually?
Yeah, you will see Stauskas in the lineup.
The camera cut off there. We forgot to delete last week's footage, but that's okay.
Blame Ernie.
Damn. Okay. No, that was my bad. It's the first thing I should do. But getting back into those guys, I was saying that I was a little disappointed that Ime took so long to bring either of those guys
into the rotation.
Not even into the rotation, just into last night's game. I think it wasn't until about the 3-minute mark
in the fourth
that even just Hauser came in. Stauskas didn't come in until a little bit after that.
Yeah, they need some burn.
Yeah, I was thinking like with how we were playing, how our shots were going, I thought they were gonna come in around the 5-minute mark,
Right.
get an actual run of possessions.
Especially, goddamn. Especially if you know the game is in hand.
And especially like the shots they've been hitting, they can shoot, man.
Oh, they can. They've
got
always
a
been
nice.
They can
chin.
shoot. They can shoot. Sam Hauser, he's new. He can shoot. Stauskas, he's been proven that he's a scorer. He's just not. He's Gordon Hayward light.
Mm-hmm.
So we couldn't deal with Gordon Hayward. We should be able to deal with Gordon Hayward light. Like that should be able to get you 10, 12 points off the bench if we really gave him some minutes.
And easily capable of. I completely think these guys they're kind of like a Tyler Harrow. I don't think they'll get as much run where the offense runs through them.
But when the ball's in their hand,
yeah, they can make a play and they can hit that, like dish it out to them. They're ready. They're ready and waiting.
Tyler Hero, Tyler Hero is another player that the bubble really gassed him up. He got hyped up in that bubble.
I can agree
tremendously.
With that. Also with why am I forgetting his name right now? But he's on the team as well. Duncan Robinson.
Oh, Duncan Robinson. Yeah, in the bubble he got gassed up too.
Yeah, because right now I think he's struggling a little bit. At least I haven't mentioned his name in the leaders of 3-point.
Right, that's true. A lot of these players capitalized in that bubble.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, these playoffs though. That was my next question before we get off the Celtics subject.
Mm-hmm.
Seeding. Where do you want the Celtics to fall come playoff time?
Good question.
Like,
Good question.
clearly numbers don't fucking matter. It's a question of who do we play in the
Right.
first round. Who do you want to play in the first round?
Damn. Right now we're sitting at the 4th seed, so we would be playing Chicago.
Right. I want to play Cleveland.
You want to play Cleveland?
I want Cleveland.
I can see us taking Cleveland and beating them in. I'd give it like 6 games.
Respectably 6.
Mm-hmm.
Realistically, it should be 5.
The Chicago Bulls, man.
That can go 7 either way.
Yeah, that's what I'm afraid of. Is in a 7-game series, the Celtics, if we get into a cold front, a cold streak.
Yeah.
In a 7-game series, we could potentially lose to the Chicago Bulls.
Absolutely.
So, if we have to play the Chicago Bulls, I'm not mad because it's definitely a winnable series. I would like to play the what was I going to say? Cleveland Cavaliers. I agree with that. I would also somehow, if the Hawks can make their way into the playoffs, because right now they're sitting in the 9th seed.
Okay.
If they can find their way into the playoffs,
that can be an interesting one.
I can see us beating the Hawks.
And 6. That would be. I think that would be a 6-game series. Trae Young, they can get hot, and playing in Atlanta, that shit's tough sometimes. It's the highlight factory.
Yeah, just because where they're sitting at right now, if they manage to get into the playoffs, that means they got hot, and they're a hot team going into the playoffs, so that'd be dangerous. But I think we can honestly take the Hawks, especially with, I don't know if you saw that, but damn, why am I forgetting their names? But there was rumors that he was coming to the Celtics. John Collins,
yeah.
He's out for the season.
Oh, for real?
Yeah. He has something with plantar
fascia.
Yeah.
Did he get his contract yet?
You want to hit this, or are you good?
I'm good. Did he get his contract yet?
I believe so. I think that's why he's still on the Hawks.
Oh, shit.
But,
that might change things. So
that's why
he's an impact player.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's why it's definitely a winnable series, and I wouldn't mind playing them.
I wouldn't mind either. Yeah, Hawk fans are so fucking fair weather. they don't show up to like the 3rd, 4th quarter, but they get fucking dumb loud. It's ridiculous. Mm-hmm. It's insane there.
But any other questions there? We can bring up the.
I was gonna say
upcoming games.
I was gonna say with that whole playoff seeding. What about Brooklyn? Brooklyn falls as that. They're falling. They're gonna be a 7th or 8th seed at this point.
With Brooklyn, I don't want to play them. I'd rather avoid it if we can. I don't, like you just said, the seeding at this point doesn't matter. It just matters who you're playing. And in a 7-game series, I am definitely afraid of Kevin Durant.
Even with COVID going on and no Kyrie in these home games or whatever the fuck they keep doing.
Yeah, because as you can see, Kevin Durant can carry the load by himself night in, night out. Having Kyrie is just a bonus. So, I don't want to play them, at least not in the first round.
What about Milwaukee and Philly?
Again, if we don't have to play these teams in the first round, I'd rather let them eliminate themselves. Okay. I'd rather play them in the second round, but I think we could take Philly. I think we could. Fuck it, man. We could take all these teams. The way we're playing right now, I think we can give any of these teams a run for their money, but
Brooklyn's the only team where you feel like that's still not going to happen even.
fuck it, we can beat Brooklyn. So fuck.
Right,
no,
good.
but realistically, yeah, I don't want to play these bigger teams in the
Okay,
in the
no,
first
fair
round.
enough. That's fair enough. That's why I said Cleveland as a first round matchup would be solid because that only means that one of those top 3 juggernauts have to be gone, whether it's Milwaukee, Brooklyn, or Philly. One of them has to be gone. If all 3 of you make it to the next round, then it's the 4 teams trying to figure out who's the best of the best.
Right.
And that's how it should be. Realistically, that's how it should be. But if you get lucky and one of those teams fall out, that makes it easier for you.
How about you? Who do you not want to play or rather not play?
Rather not play in that first game in the first round. Milwaukee.
Yeah. Milwaukee?
Yeah.
And why is that? You think Giannis, like Kevin Durant?
Coming off that championship win, their team's fully loaded. Their team isn't really dealing with injuries this, that, and third. They can kick it in at the right time come playoff time, and that can be a first round knockout because you still can't deal with Giannis. No team can deal with Giannis. You just have to hope that the others, and Middleton's a good player. You have to hope they have a bad game, turnovers, all that kind of stuff. They play kind of like how Phoenix plays in the West.
Gotcha.
So it's with Phoenix. If we were in the West, if the Celtics were in the West, Phoenix would be that team I'd fear, just because they don't turn the ball over.
Yeah, and I also think Phoenix is also kind of set up the same way we are. Yeah. So it would just be kind of a battle of
who doesn't fuck up, and that would be challenging. So I would say Milwaukee would be that team. I think we can take Brooklyn. I think we can take Philly in a 7-game series. I think that favors us a lot better than Milwaukee Bucks. Milwaukee Bucks is going to be that grind them out, and we don't do good in grind them out games when shit ain't going our way.
That's fair. But let's bring up these upcoming games. We got let's see. We got 3 games until the next time we record, which should be Thursday. So this week we got the Denver Nuggets, Oklahoma City Thunder, and Utah Jazz. Marvin, any first thoughts? First reaction?
3-0.
3-0?
Yeah.
Okay.
Most def 3-0.
What are you thinking about that Utah game? That's always an interesting matchup.
That Utah game will be a great game, mainly due to the fact that if they have all, I think Rudy Gobert might be hurt though.
I haven't seen anything, heard anything, but it's possible.
If all their players are healthy, then that should be a great game.
Mm-hmm.
The Nuggets game, if they still don't have Jamal Murray, they don't have Michael Porter Jr. And the Nuggets are floundering. They should have been one of those top teams in the West this year. No bullshit.
Really?
But they just don't have all their pieces together.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that should be a dub as well. Jokic is he's still that nigga though. But
no, he is. There's a reason he's number 1 in the MVP votings as of right now. So
statistically, his numbers they're incredible. There's no reason why he shouldn't be MVP again this year.
Yeah.
But they're not going to give it to him.
You don't think so?
They're not going to. This might be.
It's an interesting take. I think.
Yeah.
I think he'll get it.
They're not going to give it to him due to seeding where his team's placed right now, and there was a low key kind of a weird stigma to him winning it last year. They're okay with Giannis winning it, but when it was a white foreigner winning the MVP, it was like, nah, there's other players out there better than him. It's like, who? Did you see his stats?
I agree.
Nobody else is touching those stats. Embiid is. That's the thing. Embiid might win the MVP this year. And what's crazy is he's posting the same stats that Jokic posted last year.
Right.
So if Jokic is on par with Embiid, if not better than Embiid, how do you give the MVP to Embiid? You only give it to him if you go based on seeding. So that's going to be some sort of bullshit in there. But it might be Embiid's MVP to win. But I think it's going to be 3-0.
Okay. Yeah. I agree. I think we went 3-1 this past week. Like I said last week, we're just going to keep rolling. We've turned the corner. This is just how the Celtics are going to be playing. Again, there's a chance we lose a game. We might even lose 2, but we can't be reactionary. No. I think we've shown enough consistency to where, like I said, this is just how we play now. This is the Boston Celtics. This is how we're going to go into the playoffs.
I think we've had the best record since the start of February, too. So we're really hitting the gas at the right time.
Yep, absolutely. So I'm also going 3-0. Marvin, any other last-minute things you want to mention, talk about?
No, Celtics just need to keep the ball rolling. See that record right there?
42-28 as of right now.
Add another 3 to that list.
Let's get it. Check back next week. Peace.